guys, I'm back again and I'm here to do my May 2022 wrap up. So since I haven't been around for a while, I thought this was the best way to kind of show you some of the books that I have been reading and absolutely loving this year. So I have my book here. I'm going to start with the first one. I've spoken about this one before. This is La Faute de l'Abbé Mouret. This is from the Rougon-Macquart series by Émile Zola. I really enjoyed this one, even though it's controversial on the Catholicism side of things. I still thought it was a very, very interesting book. And I felt like this is a book that showed how out there and creative Zola could really be with his writing. And some of the most beautiful, beautiful descriptions of nature that I've read in a long time. Highly recommend this one. Before this one, you need to read the other one, which is called La Conquête de Plassans. Has to be read before to really get the gist of what's going on in here. So yeah. Next book on my list that I read was this one, which is A Woman of Endurance by Dalma Llanos Figueroa. Oh, this book, oh my God, this is a 5-star. This is a brilliant, brilliant book written about slavery in Puerto Rico. And Dalma does such a wonderful job with exploring a minor character from her first book, which was Daughters of the Stone. And she places her in this one and on another plantation. And it's just a remarkable read. Now, it is not for the faint of heart. Like, you got to get your mind right, okay? Because there's nothing fun about what you read in here. But I think this is a necessary read because from what she was telling us, people have a very funny idea about plantation life in Puerto Rico. They try to make it sound like it wasn't that bad, that the slaves were well treated, you know, yada yada. Well, no, it was slavery, y'all. And she does a great job with explaining that in here while we're following Paula in this one. And just here again, we're in the 19th century, so it is a turbulent time. And another excellent part about this is the cover. I don't know if you've seen that close up, but just fantastic. I'll be sure to link the creator of this painting down below, so you can go check her out over on IG if you have IG. She is Haitian and she did this fantastic painting. But this basically starts out with Paula, who arrives beaten and raped and just really in a state of shock. She is sold then to this other plantation, and it's there they receive her. And we see from there how she integrates into this plantation, and we get to understand the plantation life in detail. It's just a really, really good story. I highly recommend it. It's beautifully written. Okay, the next book I have is Daphne du Maurier's My Cousin Rachel. Now, I read this for the podcast. We thoroughly enjoyed this one. I mean, Daphne du Maurier just has a way with writing stories, and they always have something particular about them. And I felt like this one, she did a really good job of keeping us in suspense and keeping the mystery around these characters, which she does so brilliantly. If you've read any of her other work, like if you've read Rebecca, you know, there's all of that mystery that she keeps us suspended around Rebecca and around Manderley, you know. So here it's all around Cousin Rachel, us not really knowing that much about her, finding out things about Rachel when Philip finds out about them, and then us trying to figure out, well, is this true? What does this mean? It's just done really, really well, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. It was a very quick read for me because I was really into the mystery side of this particular story. Okay, next book on my list that I read was this big chunker, David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. Now, as you know, I try to read a Dickens or two a year, and I try to read them with Comfycozyup, PETA. Unfortunately, I only got to read half of this with her because I had some glitches in my schedule and I couldn't continue at the pace she was going, so I continued on. So this was over 2 months that I read David Copperfield, but boy, was this a really good one. I didn't realize that it was kind of an autobiographical situation. It has a lot of elements in it from Dickens' life, but everything is on rendezvous for this particular novel. You have David, who is in his family with his mother, and they have a servant, and then when the father dies, the mother is on her own, and so very soon after she winds up getting married, she gets married to someone who treats her like the bottom, like what's on the bottom of your shoe. And from there sparks the story, and David goes on this journey and meets lots of characters and gets confronted with a lot of different situations. It shows everything in here you can imagine. Like literally he threw like everything at this book, but it's so well written and the characters are just, you know, memorable and just larger than life, and you know, shitty as hell, some of them, but it's a very, very good story, and it won't take you as much time as you think because it's really that engrossing. Last but not least, I read this beauty, which is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. So this is a reread for me. I read this for the podcast to discuss it with my podcast buddy Christy. And OMG, I love this book so much the first time I read it, but I loved it even more the second time. This is just so messy as hell. It's messy as hell. But it's so good, even though it focuses on the dichotomy of good and evil and sibling rivalry and the choice of, do I have the choice to be a good person, or is someone just evil incarnate from birth? It plays with all of those kinds of themes, and it's just really, really a beautiful read. And it also does have some pretty interesting descriptive passages as well. If you like that kind of thing, that's really kind of my thing. But I highly recommend this one. If you don't read any other Steinbeck, this has got to be the one you're going to read. This has got to be the one you're going to read. This is the one that's 5 stars. This is the one you gotta read. You will be captivated from the beginning. These 2 big families, or should I say 1 big family and 1 small family, and how things work out for these families and their members, and the Salinas Valley, and just, so very good. So very good. So, that's it. That's what I read the month of May. I hope you enjoyed this. Comment below and let me know if any of these books float your boat, or you've read them, or you love them as much as me. As you can see, that was a pretty rich month of May. It was 5 books, but it's a rich 5 books in my opinion. I prefer my reading to be only 5 or 4 books, but have them be very rich and very, very excellent books, than to read like 10 books and have them all be mediocre, because that just feels like now I feel like reading, if it's not top notch, then I don't really want to waste my time. I just don't. I'm on a mission to read the good books. So there you have it. So let's chat below. Let me know what you think. Have you read any of these? And we'll see each other very soon in my next video. Bye-bye.